Today you're going to learn how to draw orthographic projections based off of information given to you from an isometric. But also we are going to learn how to center our views in the middle of our drawing space. So during class, each of you was provided with this handout, and if you have misplaced it, then I also have a copy of it in the resources tab for you on my Canvas page. But this is a kind of a graphically and mathematically useful way of looking at how to center your drawings. And I also color-coded because that's kind of what I do. So we're going to be taking our isometric view and we are going to be putting it in our drawing space, but making it so that it has even spacing all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to do that with you. I'm going to go through this whole procedure using our assignment for 9-7. So first thing I need to do is I need to measure my total width of my drawing space, so from borderline to borderline, and my total height from the top of my title block to my borderline up here. And preemptively, I went ahead and did that. Okay, so this year for 2020, my photocopies came out with my total width being 9 3/4 inches and my total height being 6 3/8 inches. So the next thing according to this that I need to do is I'm going to be figuring out where my starting measurement from the left side of my page, meaning the left border line, for where I'm going to start drawing my construction lines. Okay, to do that we need to fill in this mathematical equation. So I have that copied down right here. Okay, we're going to take our total width, okay, and then we're going to subtract the width of the object plus 1 inch spacing between views plus the depth. Now if you have trouble remembering which one's which, that's where the color coding comes in. Width is from left to right of the front view, height is bottom to top, and depth is from the front of the object to the back. And I also color coded so you can make sure you know where you're getting your numbers. So I took in that information. Okay, my width is 4 inches, my depth is 1.5. So I placed in my 9 3/4 inch minus 4 plus 1 plus 1/2, and I'm going to divide that by 2. Okay. That gave me, essentially, when I broke it down, it ended up being 3 1/4 divided by 2, so 1 5/8 from the left side of the page is where I'm going to draw my first construction line to give me my boundary. So when I taped my paper down, I made sure to square it up so that the horizontal lines were consistent. And now I'm going to measure 1 5/8 from my border line, 4, 5, teeny tiny little dot, and I'm going to project that straight up. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is that equation that I originally used right here. These are measurements from left to right. So from that spot, I'm going to measure 4 inches, make a mark. I'm going to add 1 inch, so I'm at 5, and then I'm going to add it 1.5 inches, so 6.5. Okay, and each of those lines I'm going to project upwards. Construction weight lines using your 5H pencil. Okay. So now I have all of my width measurements for my total width and my total depth laid out. Next I need to center it from top to bottom. So that's where my height information comes in. Look at me, preemptive strike. Okay, so according to that handout that I gave you, you're going to take the total height minus the height of the object, which is 2.5, plus 1 inch space between views, plus the total depth of 1.5, and divide that entire thing by 2. So it's going to be 6 3/8 minus 5 and divide that by 2. So it's going to end up being 1 3/8 divided by 2. And when you get that, it's going to be 11/16 inch from the bottom of the page. So I'm going to start off with my ruler at the top edge of my title block, and I'm going to measure 11/16 inch. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11. And I'm going to project that over. Okay, I'm going to add my 2.5 inches from that point. Plus 1 inch. Oops, make sure your scale doesn't wiggle on you. Plus 1 inch. Plus 1.5 inches. I'm going to double check that real quick. It's better to always do it on an actual line instead of floating out in space, because you never know if you're getting it perfectly straight, and if it's at an angle, things will be foreshortened. Yeah, I like that better. It looks more clean. It looks correct. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to do for setting this up is provide my 45-degree angle. If I did this correctly, my 45-degree angle, oh, that's nice, will connect corner to corner perfectly. Okay, now don't fudge it with your triangle. Make sure it's perfectly 45, because if you draw that line and either this line or that line doesn't connect, that means it's time for you to go back and re-measure it. One of the common mistakes that students make is that they take these numbers and they try to measure in from either side, but this is not a perfect rectangle, okay? These measurements are meant to be starting from the left of the page and from the bottom, and then you just kind of add it in order as you're measuring things out. So that's how we center a drawing in our drawing space. Hopefully that was helpful, and then I will create a second tutorial to continue on from this point to finish up 9-7.